it's been a fact. It's a proven fact that pornography does affect the man's treatment towards women. It's been a study. There was a study that was done it was a job interview. A woman comes in and she interviews for the job for a guy before and after he watches a porn movie, like for different women, and it shows that he's more sexually, how could I say it? He does things he shouldn't be doing in the interview. Takes sexual advantages, sexual advantages, comments and stuff, small things that he shouldn't be doing. But the only reason he's done it is because he watched a porn movie.
But if he's the interviewer, he's already in a power differential situation where he has more power than she does.
But the porn did make a difference.
No, I agree. But he's already in a situation that sets up a power differential where he's in a powerful position. So you're kind of pushing that. Like, I'd rather see it. You know, a girl comes in and starts talking to a guy in a coffee shop before and after he watches the porn, where there is not necessarily a differential power, an inherent power differential.
Yeah, but the power differential stays constant between both situations. The only thing that's different is whether he watched the porn or not. So that is the thing that affects it.
But did they ever have the guy as the interviewee?
No.
I mean, but that's not specific to porn. I mean, I worked on a research project for over a year that all you had to do was be primed with, less sexual gender stereotypes or even ethnic stereotypes, and the effects were the same. So it's not just porn that does that. I mean, you can get basic gender stereotypes of, I don't know, Missy the cheerleader, and that's enough to prime people to rely on specific negative stereotypes.
Coming from the male perspective, I can tell you that strip clubs probably put men closer to having the real thing. And for a guy who is going to a strip club in like a substitute, or a lot of guys that go to these clubs aren't guys that are normally dating women. So
I don't know if I agree with that statement.
Well, I'm not saying most of them. Many do, but there are many that aren't guys that are going there, and they just this is as close as they get to a naked woman lots of times, maybe.
Well, I think the interesting point to the other side of that is that at least in a porn film, there's the ability to release. Like, even if you're just watching,
I see.
It's like in a strip club, you're teased. The man is teased. The man isn't able to do the things he wants to do, so it leaves the strip club in a state of frustration, which I think could be more damning than sitting and watching pornography, a porno film. To me, I mean, I'm not judging one as being better or worse, but there's, I think, more
I could see strip clubs as more dangerous to women, I'd say, in a way. Just the way they get, like you just said, the guy will walk out more frustrated, walk out with a more tangible, actual thing that he just saw. A porn is it's more of a fantasy. It's kind of easy to separate it as a fantasy, more so than a stripper in front of you.
I think that the soft porn or porn that women produce for women might be actually liberating for some women, in that they're saying, hey, we have a sexuality. We don't like your cheesy positions and your male domination themes in your films. We're gonna have a plot, we're gonna have a story, we're gonna have romance, and we're gonna have sex. So I don't know. It might be a positive thing.
It's a lot of broad. I mean, have you ever seen produced porn?
I
think you're somewhat glorifying what they're actually doing. They're still having sex, and there's still men in the film, and there's
but that's also
positioning change.
But that's also
well, how much could they? I mean, porns are all about changing positions. So I don't know how many new positions they could invent for the.
I think you're right in saying that women, maybe by producing their own porn, are looking for something different than is out there, and that's the primary porn subject matter. But I don't know if women necessarily. I don't want to say need intimacy or romance, but I wouldn't want to lump all women in saying that women need romance and need relationships and need a storyline in order to have sex, and then sex is okay for women. But women can't ever be okay with just sex.
But as an alternative, I think it speaks to an audience that is hardly ever really kept in mind by the male fantasy-directed films.
I don't know if I agree with that either.
I think that although what Sonia said is a stereotypical view of what women want sexually, it's very legitimate that there's some truth to women wanting more intimacy or wanting to be looked at as having more agency, or just being an equal participant in the activity rather than being just an object.
do women enjoy sex as much as men?
Yes. Why wouldn't they?
Well, one would argue if you looked at the frequencies of certain behaviors, just as using masturbation as an example, since you're not dependent upon a partner for that, that may be a pure interest barometer. And males generally masturbate more frequently per day, month, year, whatever else, than women do. Is that evidence that men enjoy sex more than women, or that they've just been given more permission culturally for masturbation?
I think that in terms of, if you're going to view the highest point in sex as the orgasm, I think it's a very common fact that women don't have orgasm as often as men do. So viewing it on that scale, men enjoy sex more than women, just from the standpoint, just taking that standpoint of the number of times that men have an orgasm in the sex act.
I think if you talk about Paul's point about the permission, I think that one of the reasons that women may not orgasm as often as men, only one of the reasons, is that they don't know their bodies as well because they're not encouraged to masturbate as well. And so maybe women that masturbate more often are able to orgasm easier and then thus do enjoy sex as much.
Well,
but I think what it comes down to is that the permission is a bigger deal. Is that, or the, let's say, the culture, that it's more the fact that men will and do masturbate whereas women shouldn't, let's say. Or if they do, then they're more sexual than they are human at times.
And masturbation, I think, is as taboo as women enjoying sex in some sense. Maybe not in the contemporary moment so much, but I think it's definitely looked at maybe a little critically. Women who carry condoms, women who are overtly sexual, are definitely, there's a double standard.
Women are also taught to know your men and please your men, and and learn tricks.
I don't know how
and
true
do
that is, because all the guys I know, all my friends, they try hard. Definitely, like everybody wants to know how they can please the woman too. It's not. I definitely don't see it that one-sided as like maybe the stereotypes are out there, but.
But what I was going to say was, I mean, I think that is definitely a product of like more recent generations. I don't think it's always been like that. But you had been making a statement earlier about how women don't know their bodies as well, so thus don't enjoy sex as well. And I think to a certain extent that is true, but also I think that men don't know women's bodies as well because maybe they've been socialized to, just have sex, but don't take time to have the intimacy or the relationship or know basic physiology of the female as well.
I understand that point, but I think that I think it'd be interesting to take a poll of what men actually think, because I don't know many men that actually agree with the stereotypes that are talked about with men. Mm-hmm. I would agree more with what Gabe was saying, where most of the men that I know care about pleasing the woman. And the easiest way for a man to learn how to please a woman is that the woman knows how to please herself, and she could teach him. And a lot of women that I've come into contact with in my life, or that I've known, don't know themselves that well because they don't masturbate on a frequent basis because they've been told that it's a bad thing for them to do. That was the only point I was making. I'm not saying that's all about all women, but I think there's a healthy portion of the population somewhere in this country or maybe in this world where masturbation is definitely frowned upon, and thus they are not able to learn about their bodies, what pleases them, what they like.
Women are louder during sex lots of times. What does that mean?
Women have a higher frequency to fake their orgasms.
You think so?
Definitely.
You don't think?
Sorry,
I mean,
I got girlfriends.
All right, then speaking from your personal experience, then you are never like I know girls that will swear, not girls that I'm having sex with, so they have no reason to lie to me. You know what I mean? Friends of mine who are telling me. No, I'm just saying, who are louder than others in bed. Like different women vary. Like. I don't think that you're going to say that every time a woman's loud in bed, it's because she's faking it. An
easy answer for that question. Men are taught to be quiet because they don't want to get caught when they're masturbating. So as
you're
a teenager growing up, you don't want your mom here, and you learn to be quiet. Whereas if women don't masturbate, they don't have the experience to learn to be quiet.
And films depict that stereotype of men being silent and females being vocal.
Porns don't.
Really? So you hear other guys moaning?
Yeah,
of
course.
And they talk and they, I mean, I think it leans more to when the boy was growing up and didn't want his mom to catch him.